Today, we're going to take a look at the different ways you can connect your laptop to a courtroom AV system. These days, you have the option of connecting to a courtroom system by HDMI or a VGA cable, but that's not the end of the inquiry because you also have to think about what kind of ports your laptop has. And so I'm going to take a look at 4 different laptops that span an age range of 10 years to give kind of a flavor of the different types of connections that are out there. And I'm even going to go over one that I don't have, but I do see every once in a while as a little bit of a bonus. So let's go back kind of to the beginning, and I'm going to bust out this computer again. I've been showing it a lot lately because it has both HDMI and VGA ports. And on this side, you can see them. There is the HDMI port here, and here is the VGA port. VGAs are the kind of cables that we used to have going to our computer monitors at our desk, and HDMI is the kind of cable that you usually have connecting, say, like your cable box to your TV. If you have either one of these on your laptop, you can just plug directly into the courtroom system. If you have one of these two, that's probably going to be the easiest way of connecting your laptop to a courtroom system. But because of the fact that these ports are a little bit bigger, a lot of companies have been switching to other kinds of ports in order to slim down their computers. And I'll look at this one next. This is an old MacBook, a 2008. This is the 10-year-old computer. It has a disk drive on it, and it's super heavy. But one of the things that it does have is a mini DisplayPort on the side. It doesn't have any VGA, doesn't have any HDMI. Some of the MacBook Pros, depending on the year that you got your MacBook Pro, they might have an HDMI port on them, but most of the MacBooks, older MacBooks, have a mini DisplayPort, and all the older MacBook Airs, all except the brand new ones that just came out a couple weeks ago, have a mini DisplayPort. And so what you're gonna need is something that looks like this. This is a mini DisplayPort to VGA adapter. So it's got mini DisplayPort. It looks kind of like a square with some rounded edges on the bottom, and then it has the VGA port on the outside. You're gonna need a connector like this if you wanted to connect a laptop that has a mini DisplayPort as its only video port. And it's not just those older MacBooks that have it. I think a lot of the Lenovo and the ThinkPad series, so if you have a ThinkPad, you probably, I think some of them, depending on how big the laptop is, have an HDMI port built in, but some of the smaller ones, like if you're lucky enough to have the X1 Carbons, I believe those are only mini DisplayPort as their only output type, so you're gonna need to get one of these adapters. And I would get 2 adapters, one for VGA and one for HDMI, so that way you're covered no matter what kind of courtroom you head into. Now going into some of the newer MacBooks, this is a MacBook, I think it's a 2017 version. Now I hope that none of you guys are going into court with this. Sometimes I'll bring this as kind of my backup laptop because running Windows at the same time as you're running Mac OS, like say you're running Parallels, is doable, but it's not a great experience and not something that I recommend even for advanced users because it's just very difficult to juggle, but it can be done. And the reason why I bring it up though is because this MacBook has a USB-C port on it. And that's this one over here. It's very slim. It looks kind of like the same thing that you'd plug your iPhone into, but a little bit bigger, and that's kind of how I'd explain it. If that's what you have, then you're going to need a USB-C to VGA adapter. So it's the same VGA adapter that we've seen before, but the top is USB-C, so it looks a little bit different. Or you might want to have a USB-C to an HDMI adapter. So we've got that HDMI port on the bottom, and we've got that USB-C port on top. And that's going to be important to know because even if you're not going to use a MacBook, the newer MacBook Airs, and hopefully you're not bringing those to present at trial as either, but also the MacBook Pros all have only USB-C, and some newer laptops like this Dell XPS 13, which is one of my favorite laptops I've ever worked with. This one only has USB-C ports on it. 2 USB-C ports on this side, 1 on this side, SD card slot, and a headphone jack. That's pretty much all you get. So that's the trend these days, is to have fewer and fewer ports and smaller ports. So it's rare that you're going to be able to plug an HDMI port directly into a laptop. And even then, the courtroom that you're going to or the vendor that you're using might not be providing HDMI cables. So you'll need to have a way to connect your laptop, that latest and greatest super light and thin laptop that you're so proud of, to a courtroom system. So you're probably going to need one of these USB-C to VGA adapters. And so those are just some of the ways that you can connect, and those are the most common ways that you're going to connect a laptop. And I'll throw in one more. This is, I can't remember if it's micro HDMI or mini HDMI. It's one of the two, and it doesn't make sense because there's another one. I think this is the mini HDMI, even though mini is bigger than micro, and the micro HDMI is bigger than this. I think this one is mini HDMI to HDMI, and this is HDMI, the regular size cable on one end, and a mini HDMI port on the other. And the only devices I ever see this on are on certain Lenovo Yoga series notebooks. It's not common. They did it for a little while, and I think they backed off of it because it was just getting to be a little bit annoying. Plus, you had to have the adapter, and then what if you were in a room that only had VGA, and so then you had to adapt the adapter, and it became a problem. And so I think most of the Lenovo's have switched either to USB-C or mini DisplayPort. Another computer that's probably something that you guys may be looking at that has mini DisplayPort in addition to the MacBooks and some of the Lenovo ThinkPads is the Surface line. I believe all the Surface laptops have mini DisplayPort. I could be wrong on that, but a majority of them do. And so if you're thinking about a Surface, either the Surface Book or the Surface, the tablet, you're going to be looking at mini DisplayPort to either VGA or HDMI. So hopefully that clears a little bit of things up for you. If you don't know right now, watching this video immediately, what kind of connectors you would need if you were going to trial, take a moment, go get your trial laptop, look at the site and figure that out and write it down somewhere so that way the next time you have to go to trial, especially if you're going to trial in another city, you know either what to bring or what to tell the vendor that's going to be working with you when you get there, what they need to be able to work with you. If you have any questions about any of this stuff, feel free to leave it in the comments. I love to talk to you guys down there. Thanks so much for watching this video, and I'll see you in the next one.